Okay, we've got a few more folks joining here. All right, well, 6:02, let's get started, I think. I wanted to welcome all of you for joining us today. My name is Calli Sheets. I am one of the camp directors at Project O and one of the educators as well. So we'll just go over quickly our agenda this evening. Really, we're here to answer your questions. We're going to give the staff a chance to introduce themselves. We have a video that really goes over some of the highlights. I wish we could be touring our facility in person with you all today, but this video will serve that purpose. So we get to see our lab spaces and campus and our boats. We'll talk about some of the COVID protocols that we have in place to keep your campers safe. We'll show you some of the resources that are available to you all, such as our camper handbook, which you may have received a copy of via email today. And then we'll also allow time for your questions. All right, thanks, Debbie. So like I said, my name is Calli. I'm one of the camp directors. I've been at Project O for about 14 years now. One of the captains and one of the lifeguards as well. I have a degree in marine biology and my master's degree in biology as well. And I have my teaching certificate. So really excited to be part of Project O and part of the camp team this year. And I'll talk to you a little more about research camp later on. Thank you. Kyle, I think, is next, right?
Yeah, so hi, my name is Kyle. I'm a camp director and marine educator here at Project O. This is going to be my 4th summer working at Project Oceanology, and I'm really excited to get back into it and run with the residential camps again this year. I have a bachelor's in environmental science with a concentration in marine science from the University of Connecticut, and I've worked with the state DEP in their inland fisheries division as well. So we're excited to have your campers down for us. And one other thing we forgot to mention, if you have any questions while we're going through our other materials, feel free to put them in the chat and we'll get to them as well. And next up, I'm going to introduce Marisa.
Hi, everyone. I'm Marisa. I am also a marine science educator, a small boat captain, a certified lifeguard, and I'm also the camp director of one of the residential camps and one of the day camps this year. I have a bachelor's of science in marine science, right from UConn Avery Point, actually, so I haven't gone far off the campus. I've also been here for about 7 years, and I have a lot of experience with students both in the classroom and hands-on on the water, as you can see in my awesome photos. Next up is Debbie.
Hi, everyone. I'm Debbie Sayer. I'm one of the marine science educators. I'm the director of Undersea Technology Camp. That's one of our day camps, and part-time director of Ocean Camp, our residential camp. I'm a small boat captain. I'm a lifeguard, and I've been at Project O. This is my 5th summer. I've spent most of my career in environmental education, outdoor experiential learning, although I did a couple years in the classroom as well. I'm really excited to get back on the water with all of these students. So at this point, I'm going to back out of my slideshow. And actually, one more thing to show you is the summer staff who could not join us. I almost forgot. These beautiful faces belong to our incoming group of educators and interns. So we have 2 students from Connecticut College, Ryan and Adam, will be joining us as summer interns. And Jess attends Siena College, and Amy goes to Augustana College as well. So those are our college interns. They're going to be staying in the hostel with residential campers. They have rooms adjacent to all of the campers, so there's always an adult nearby, and a mentor as well. One of the most important things our interns do is to mentor our young campers. We also have a residential supervisor who will be joining us in just a few short weeks. Amy, down in the bottom left, is our residential supervisor. She was actually a summer intern with us in the summer of 2018, 2019? I don't know, 2020 didn't happen. I can't even. 2018, I believe she has come full circle. She's back with us as an educator and as a residential supervisor. So she's going to be in charge in the evening hours for all of our camps. So I'm going to go ahead and share our camp video now, which I have in a separate tab. All right. Calli, can you tell me if you can see this? Just want to make sure it's shared. Nope, it's not. Okay, perfect. I'm going to just reshare just to be certain that everybody can see it. There we go. That's better,
Yep,
right?
that looks good.
Okay. All right, let her roll. Project Oceanology can't wait to kick off the 2021 season of summer camp. Let's take a tour of our beautiful facility. Keeping our campers safe and healthy is our #1 priority. We have enough space to keep our camps and cohorts totally separate and frequently clean high-use surfaces. We also strive to make sure that there are limited shared resources and materials. This is one of our labs. As often as possible, though, we try to get kids outside in the fresh air. We have outdoor classroom spaces, dining areas, and game fields to use on campus. And of course, our floating classrooms, the research vessels EnviroLab 2 and EnviroLab 3. We spend most of our days out on the water aboard our boats and along the beaches and shorelines. If your camper is attending one of our residential camps, meals are provided by Yukon Dining Services. They are prepared in a separate, clean kitchen and delivered to Project Oceanology to distribute to campers. Day campers should bring their own lunches and snacks and be prepared to picnic on our adventure of the day. Campers and camp staff will wear masks, except when eating, swimming, or in bunk rooms. You should plan to pack at least 3 masks per day, so your camper has backups if they get wet or dirty. Residential campers will live in our hostel bunk rooms. Sleeping quarters are arranged per the recommendations from the Connecticut Department of Health, allowing 6 feet of space between beds and arranging bunks head to toe. Not a bad view. Each floor of the hostel also has 2 separate bathrooms, with sinks, toilets, and showers. Last stop on the tour are the pride and joy of Project O, our boats. Both research vessels are fully equipped with science gear to aid in our exploration of Long Island Sound. Otter trawl nets, Peterson crab, plankton, water quality instruments, and more. We also have a fleet of Carolina skiffs with flat hulls, so we can zip around shallow water ecosystems too. Project Oceanology is dedicated to providing meaningful, hands-on marine science experiences for our campers in the safest way possible. All right, I'm going to reshare my screen so we can get back to that slideshow. There it goes. There's some happy campers. So we are excited that so many of our camp weeks are beginning to fill up already, but I did want to just kind of briefly talk about what is available still, and these are the sessions for Ocean Camp. Marisa, would you like to describe Ocean Camp to everyone?
Yes. So Ocean Camp is near and dear to my heart because I actually started out as a camper in this camp when I was in like 8th grade. So it's kind of exciting to now be able to be the educator and fostering the love of science in your children. So as you can see, there are still some sessions that have open slots, although there's a few that have been filled. And Ocean Camp is fun because you kind of get a general idea of a whole bunch of different things involving marine science. So every morning and afternoon, we are outside and either out on our large research vessels, or we go visit a beach or the marsh. We even kind of, with our younger age group, will walk up to the edge of Bluff Point and we'll talk about the history of Long Island Sound. So each grade level has a week-long project that they're working on. So the youngest age group focuses a lot on animals, how they interact with each other in the food web, and how they are found in different habitats. So they're going to be collecting data from different areas, and then they actually get to kind of create their own animal. And they have to figure out what habitat it would live in, where it fits on the food chain, and they actually end up building a 3D model of it and sharing that at the end of the week. Our middle age group, they focus more on the chemistry of the water, and what they actually get to do is create their own little 10-gallon fish tank, which they have to maintain throughout the week. And then we go to different locations and collect animals for them to add into their tanks. They also have to look at the interaction between those animals and research what it was that they found, just like if they were a real scientist. The oldest age group focuses more on technology and engineering. So we get to use some things like the remotely operated vehicles that we can use to look underwater. And they actually get to engineer a boat out of cardboard and duct tape. And then on Friday morning, we actually bring those to the beach and we have a race with those. So each age group is a little different as far as what we focus on, but regardless of which age group it is, we always like to have fun, we like to be safe, and we like to explore different environments and looking for cool animals. I think that's it. We're going to show you a little later what a typical daily schedule would be like as well.
So I can speak to Marine Science Research Experience. This is a really awesome camp that is really focused on students doing their own research during their time at camp. And so we'll give opportunities for kids to get out in the field and show what kind of equipment and facilities we have to offer and habitats that are available to us. And then based on interest, campers are going to come up with their own projects. And each day we'll be out in the field. We'll be doing some data collection and processing and analyzing that data. And then we'll kind of culminate with presentations, so research presentations to share their findings with the rest of the camp. We'll record those so we can share them with families as well. But it's a really great opportunity for students that might be thinking about, pursuing a science career in the future. And so really happy to be offering this camp and, to give this opportunity to campers. So both of our sessions of this are actually at full capacity at this time, but looking forward to it. We've had some really great projects in the past. I can just give you a couple ideas of types of projects that have been done. We've had my favorite, and what's near and dear to me, is the lobster study. So setting 10 traps and taking a look at lobster abundance in Long Island Sound. We've had students look at the presence of shell disease, looking at sex ratios between male and female lobsters. Those are a few favorites. We've had seining projects looking at nearshore fish. We've had students looking at the water chemistry, looking up all the way at the Pequannock River and into Baker's Cove. So in addition to focusing on the biotic, we've had a lot of students focus on the abiotic characteristics of our estuary. So taking a look at water quality, fecal coliform samples, and how that might relate to shellfish areas that are nearby. So there's lots of possibilities, and students will have access to past research, so they can take a look at what other campers have found in years past and how that compares to their findings. And I was saying that actual researchers and town officials are using this information that our campers are collecting, and it's been a really successful program. So looking forward to that. All right, thanks, Debbie. So this is just a sample schedule to give you a taste of what a day at Ocean Camp or research camp might look like. That's a question that we often get. So we'll share that here and let you take a look at that. But as Marisa mentioned, we're really all about being out in the field. And so we try to spend most of our time out there. After evening meal, after dinner, there's usually some activities back that happen in the lab space. There's some free time, and then lights out after that. So we have an early start for another fun-filled day. Marisa, if there's anything you want to add, please do.
Nope, the Ocean Camp is really similar. We have larger blocks of times that we spend in a certain area rather than breaking it up a little more like research camp does, since their students are all doing slightly different projects. We're kind of all in one group of 16, and we're doing a few different things. For instance, when we're out on the research boat, we're out for like 2.5, 3 hours. And then we go to the beach and we'll do like a few different activities at the same time. So that's why it looks a little shorter. But I'll tell you, they do spend, a lot of their time doing activities, and they're usually tired by the end of the night because of it.
Okay, I'll talk a little bit about our day camps. So Ocean Explorer Academy is for students who are entering 5th, 6th, and 7th grade in the next school year. So unfortunately, we have, or fortunately, I guess, however you want to look at it, we have filled all of our weeks. But just so, if for future summers, and, we're anticipating some extra funding, so we might be able to open up a few more slots to help facilitate, more campers being able to come to camp this summer. But each week of Ocean Explorer Academy has a different theme. So the first week, which is the week of July 5th through 9th, is our animal adaptation. So students are really focusing on a different animal sort of in depth each day. They're going to be visiting lots of different animals during the week, different habitats. But they're going to be focusing on how an animal survives in its habitat based on its adaptations. Eco Engineers is the week of the 26th, so if you're registered for that, that is focusing on how animals can be engineers, and then also how humans can be engineers to help the environment. So students will be focusing on building to solve problems, and then putting themselves in the place of, say, a bird who needs to build a certain kind of nest. Or we have many different projects for them to do over the course of the week, but kind of more of a building problem solving focus. And Hidden Habitats is really about comparing and contrasting many different kinds of habitats. We have a lot of different shoreline habitats right near us, beautiful natural resources. So we can go to sandy beaches, rocky shores, salt marshes. We can go out into the estuary proper and do some sampling. There are bird rookeries we can visit, all different places that we can take the kids and really explore. I'm also the director of Undersea Technology Camp, which is also filling up really quick. But this is an exciting camp because this is a real chance to explore different types of technology that's used to explore the ocean. We have a big focus on ROVs, the remotely operated vehicles. So students will work collaboratively in pairs to build their own sea perch ROV. And then over the course of the week, they'll modify that ROV several times to fit different challenges. So for example, there's a simulated oil spill, and the students will have to devise a strategy for cleaning up an oil spill that's at the surface of the water. There's also all the usual things that we do at Project O. The kids will be outside, they'll be on the water, we'll be collecting animals, and there'll be time for games too. But it is really a jump into engineering and building and using different types of technology to explore our estuary. So session 2 still has some spots, so we're excited about that as well. Okay. Calli, would you like to speak a little bit about our COVID protocols?
Sure. And I'll mention all of these COVID protocols can be found on our website. We have a frequently asked question page and also our handbook. But for, I guess, the big one to start off with here is COVID testing or proof of a vaccine record. And that's for residential campers only. And so if you don't have a vaccine record, then we would need a negative COVID test within 1 to 3 days of arriving at camp. Or again, if you have your camper has a vaccine record, that would be just fine as well. And again, I can't stress this enough, this is for our residential camp. So day camps will have a different protocol. They're gonna have daily health screenings before they arrive at camp. And those health screenings actually fall into our residential campers as well. So once they're with us and have begun their camp session, they'll have health screenings that happen twice a day, just questioning, giving some questions and asking how campers are feeling and if they have any of the known COVID symptoms. Social distancing is also at the utmost importance to us as well. And so the way that we're handling that is by having camp cohorts. And so each camp cohort will live on a separate floor of our hostel. Each of those floors have separate bathrooms, and so at no time shall those cohorts mix, and they'll have separate indoor spaces as well. We have social distancing in the bunk rooms. You saw that in the video. So campers will be sleeping head to toe, and there will be no more than 4 campers in one room. If you want to switch over to the next slide, please. Masking, I think we addressed in the video as well, but we will be wearing masks when we're indoors, when we're outdoors, when we can't social distance, and aboard our boats. No masks will be required while we're eating, but we will have social distance being enforced then. We'll try to eat meals outside when that's appropriate, and so we'll do that as best we can, as long as the weather cooperates with us. When we're actually in the water, campers won't be asked to wear masks. And when campers are in their bunk rooms, we consider that to be a household cohort. And so when they're in their bunk rooms confined with just their bunk mates, it will be okay for them to take off their masks in that setting as well. And obviously when they're sleeping, I think that goes without saying. And then for our meals, we talked about that in the video, that it's really provided by Yukon Dining Services. And so those folks won't be coming into our facility. It's prepared, meals are prepared in a separate kitchen and then delivered to Project O. So meals will be distributed by our own staff that'll be working closely with the campers. I think that's it there. If any of the, Marisa, Debbie, Kyle, if you have anything to add, please do. You'll see that our day camp protocols are really very similar to our residential camps. The main difference is that the COVID testing is not required before day camps. Again, we'll do sort of a daily check-in before campers join us for the day. Check-in procedures for day camps will be same as last year, if any of you joined us last year, but we did sort of a drive-through, so no family members were coming into our building, and that worked out really successfully for us last year. And so we're going to keep that protocol in place. We found that to work out really well. And you'll see the same kinds of social distancing and masking requirements for our day camps as we have in place for our residential camps.
So we just have some resources here. These are both available on our website. So I'm gonna just kind of show you how to navigate our website real quick. To do so, I have to stop my share quickly. So we want to make sure that everyone has access to, where's it? There we go. Oops, and we're back here.
I also put the link in the chat to the web page that Debbie
perfect.
is about to go to.
Yes. So if
So
you
if
go
you-
to the link in the chat, it should take us right to, I closed my window.
Yep.
Sorry, guys. There we go. Okay, now we're in business. So if you go to our website, our homepage, the first thing you'll see is this big banner. So it'll take you right to everything you need for summer camp. So you can hit register, or if you scroll down just a little bit further, you can see overnight camps and day camps are right here. So everything that you need, and a link to our the meeting that we had at the beginning of May, and this session as well will be uploaded as soon as we're done recording it. We can get it online, so you can go and review anything that we said. If you had more questions or you wanted to, see something that we had on a slide, you can go there. So I'm just going to click on overnight camps for just a second. And there's also like a quick resources right on the right hand side here. So if you wanted to see learn more right here, there's a little pop-up. But there's also our overnight camp handbook right here, and it'll open up a PDF for you. So everything that you need to know for overnight camp, including a packing list. I know that's probably on your mind right now. So my computer's loading it pretty slowly, but oh, here it comes. So everything that you need to know. These are the required items that you'll need to pack. We are emphasizing face masks, but staff will always have some extras in case someone experiences a mask crisis during the week. But you are going to bring both bath towels and beach towels, bathing suits, shorts. A sweatshirt is a good one. A lot of people forget that even if it's 90 degrees out, sometimes it gets cool at night. And sometimes after being wet and then you come into the air conditioned building, it can be a little jarring. Everything that you'll need for showering, so toiletries and shampoo, etc. And then bedding as well. Our mattresses are bare when you come in, so you'll need to bring either a sleeping bag or twin size sheets and pillows. So optional items that we like to recommend. You'll always see me at camp with a hat on because it gets bright on the water. It hits you twice, reflects off the water. So a hat, a notebook. Some kids like to doodle or write down things that they're observing. Insect repellent. And then we, at residential camp, we recommend you bring a small amount of money, about $5 or so, for a midweek treat. We usually have a visit from the ice cream truck. So $5 will get you anything on the ice cream truck. So the same story, if we go back to our homepage, if we wanted to instead see day camp handbook, it's very similar. It doesn't have a packing list, but instead has just all our protocols, everything that you need to know what they should bring to camp on a daily basis instead of for the entire week. So now I guess we can kind of transition into our question and answer session. So if you have any questions, you can type it in the chat. Oh, that's a great question, Ashley. They are twin. We double checked, we measured them. They are not twin XL, which is the standard that everyone thinks of for college dorms. I think it makes it a little easier on parents too, because twin sheets are easier to find.
And the building is air conditioned, so you won't need to bring a fan.
Yeah, it actually is
So
pretty cool in those ones.
I got a question about how do we handle lunchtime for day camp with allergies. So we have enough space that we can spread out. So if there's someone that has an allergy, we can kind of have a separate area for them depending on the severity of the allergy. In the past, we've had some students that have had such a severe allergy that we've had to ask some of the other campers to not bring items that contain that, for instance, peanuts. If there's someone who has a very severe allergy to peanuts, we might, message everyone ahead of time and ask you to try to not pack that in your lunch because of some allergies. So it kind of depends on what the allergy is and the severity of that. But we definitely take every caution when it comes to that kind of stuff as well. If you guys want to add anything, feel free.
I think that one's great. And I see a question about day camp drop off and pickup. So I did start to talk about this. If you missed it, we have been doing a drive-through drop off and pickup. So campers will remain in their cars. We'll go through our screening questions, and if that all checks out, then we'll invite the campers to come out of the car, grab their gear, and join the rest of the crew. And so pickup at the end of the day at 4 o'clock will be in a similar fashion. We'll come outside and meet that line of cars, And for checkout, we'll ask until we get to know you, we'll ask you to show your identification, your license, and make sure that matches up with your paperwork. So there'll be a list of people that are allowed to transport your camper, and we'll have access to that. And so we'll just make sure you're on the list, and then in they go.
Okay, I saw a question about allergy medication. If you are speaking about residential camp, I'm going to assume that you are, because usually that's a one-a-day thing. For residential camp, you can bring your allergy medication, but it will require a form completed by your doctor authorizing self-administration. And I'd like to just take a quick second to explain what that means. The child would not be responsible for holding the medicine during the week. It would be stored in a locked container. It's actually double locked. It's behind a locked door in a locked container. So no one can get to it except for camp staff. So they would not be required to remember to take it. They would not be required to hold on to it and make sure it doesn't get lost and make sure no one else gets at it. It will be safely locked away, and the camper will be prompted to come and take their pill. So self-administration is a very broad concept, but we will maintain control of that situation. So they can bring that, but it does require the self-administration form. Yes, a same procedure for over-the-counter allergy medication. All medication whatsoever needs to be in the care of camp directors. I realize that that seems excessive, but it is something that is required by the state of Connecticut. So we need to maintain control of that. Plus, it helps them to remember to take it. The process about albuterol inhalers are the exception, and EpiPens as well. Those are never in a locked container. These need to be on hand and ready to be used at a moment's notice. Those will be also held onto by the camp staff that are constantly with the campers. So the admin forms, the self-administration forms need to be completed for both of those as well. But I'd like to clarify that under no circumstances do I expect a 14-year-old to have the clarity of mind to be able to administer an EpiPen solo. So it would be a collaboration of that camper and the camp staff on hand. So if the student is 14 or older, they can opt to carry their own EpiPen, but frankly, many of our camp staff are, all of us are EpiPen trained at the beginning of the summer. So we have training on how to administer that. And we have explicit orders given to us as part of the form that you need to complete to bring an EpiPen to camp. So definitely have a conversation with your doctor. We have forms that are downloadable on the website. I can reshare my screen and show you where to find those. But the EpiPen and albuterol or rescue inhalers always travel with us and with the kids. So those are not locked. Excellent question. The iodine pills Project Oceanology is located within the fallout zone of the Millstone Dominion energy power plant, the nuclear power plant. And they are extremely rigorous with their safety, and we don't expect a meltdown or anything like that. There is some evidence that in young people, if a potassium iodide tablet is administered, there is less absorption of the nuclear radiation. So it is something that would only be administered if there is a nuclear meltdown. And gosh, we're hoping that never happens. But it is something that could limit the amount of radiation absorbed by your child. So you can opt yes or no in the event of a meltdown. But that form needs to be completed before the beginning of camp for all campers. I think I saw something, yes, about the games. It depends on the game. We have tons of board games available to us, a lot of fun ones. I have one that I'm going to bring to camp this summer. I'm pretty excited. I got it for my birthday. So we'll have some fun camp games that are led by the interns, but also there's downtime for our residential campers to just kind of be kids together. So you'll see there'll be time for them to play some cards or something like that, and that's totally fine. But we don't allow any video games or any kind of virtual games that can be played at camp. I think I saw this question a little further up too. So Pam, to address technology, electronics, and phones are discouraged to come with anybody for day camps. You just won't need them. And for residential camp, we just don't want to have those at camp with us. And for the reason that we can keep kids immersed in the activities that are happening, it actually cuts down on homesickness a little bit to not have that like constant pull back to what's happening outside of camp. That does not mean we are isolating you from your student or your student from you. They have an opportunity to talk to you via phone, our phone, not my cell phone, but the camp phone that exists at Project O. So they can give you a call in the evening and tell you about all the great things they've been doing. You can also email our camp email and send them just a quick little notice in the day. So we distribute emails, we'll print them out and hand them to the camper at mealtime. So you can send them a little note overnight and they'll get it at breakfast, or you can send them a note in the middle of the day, they'll get it at lunch or dinner. So you can send them a little bit of note, and then we don't usually have them email you back, but we'll have them give you a quick call in the evening to thank you for the message and let you know. Cameras are encouraged. However, we deal in salt water. So that's a slow burn if it's a camera that they care about. Salt water, sand can scratch a lens. If it's just, you know, an inexpensive camera, like disposable or something like that, absolutely bring that along. So we discourage the use of phones. We want to encourage the campers to communicate with the adults that are with them about what they need and want, so that they, you know, we're there with them, and we want to know if they're unhappy at camp or if they're missing home. We want to know about it. And then we'll share that with you, with open line of communication between our camp directors, our campers, and our camp families.
We're also taking a lot of photos, and if you're in my group, I take a lot of photos.
Yeah, she does.
And this year, we're actually going to try to share the Google photo album with you on the first night, and then we'll upload photos daily so you guys at home can kind of get a glimpse at what they did that day.
Yeah, if
we don't get to it till the next morning, I apologize. We got a lot going on, but that's our current goal as well. So you'll be able to kind of see pictures throughout the week, hopefully.
Okay, I'm looking back. I think we missed a few questions further back in the chat, and one was about drop-off times for day camps. So day camp drop-off time is either 8:30 or 8:45. We're trying to stagger the drop-off times just so we don't have a line of 24 cars that you're trying to wait in. And so we're deciding that just by alphabetical order, actually, by camper last name. So if your last name is A through M, you'll be the 8:30 check-in time. And if you are N through Z, you'll be the 8:45 check-in time. And again, all of that is in the camper handbook if you need to refer back to that. I saw another quick question about fitted sheets. No, we do not provide fitted sheets for the bed, so you would need to bring your own bedding, fitted sheet, flat sheet, or sleeping bag, whatever you prefer.
Okay. I think I saw a question about Ocean Camp cohorts. There are 2 cohorts for a total of 32 kids for each week of Ocean Camp. In the weeks when Marine Science Research Camp is also occurring, that fills our whole hostel between the 2 camps. So we'll have 1 cohort of 16 ocean campers and 1 cohort of 16 research campers. That's just week 1 and week 7 of camp. Every other week has 32 available spots. And we have not chosen our cohorts yet. So if you and a friend are both attending in the same week, definitely shoot us a little message and we'll make sure they're in the same cohort. Yeah, definitely want to go to camp with your friends.
You can also add it on your active. There's an area where you can put bunk requests. So you can ask to be like in a certain room with somebody, or you could just, you know, ask to be in a certain cohort with them as well. Because we haven't set up those cohorts yet. So you still have time to do that.
I see a question about the interns. The interns will be part of residential camp most directly, and so they'll support the kids during the day and in the evening. We have just dedicated staff that will work with the day camps, and it doesn't happen to be the interns this summer. We are trying to keep the staff just sticking with their cohort, so we're not mixing staff.
Kirk had a question about kids wearing masks. We are following the guidance set out by the Office of Early Childhood through the state of Connecticut, and they have not rolled back any of their guidance about masking, even if they're fully vaccinated. So we have to abide by what the state is requiring of summer camps this year. So while the CDC has recommended those that are fully vaccinated do not need to mask when they're at camp, that is something that we have to abide by.
Is that outside and inside? I'm wondering about outside.
Yes, both. The times when they can remove their masks are when they're in the water. So if they're swimming or using equipment in the water, if they're eating, or if they're in their bunk rooms together in their little bubble. So that is what is mandated by the state of Connecticut at this time. Oh, drop off and pickup times will always be either 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock for residential camp. David asked us that. That's just to give us a little time to get one cohort checked in and out of that lobby area and the general area before the next cohort arrives. So it'll be either 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock if that affects your travel plans.
And if one of those times would be better for you, you can let us know that as well, so that you can, we can get you in
If
the
4
one that
o'clock
works.
is going to be a stretch for you, you know, you can request 3 o'clock or the other way around. All right, I'm going to just scroll up through the comments real quick and see what we can find. I want to make sure I didn't miss any of the questions.
And I'll put, I think Marisa addressed bunk room requests, but I'll put, I think you'll share a slide eventually with emails, but I'll put my email in the chat. You can always, oh, if I spelled ocean right, hold on, let me try that again. You can always email us directly.
I did see someone ask about opening windows in the bunk rooms. Yes, they do open. They have screens in them, but honestly, you'll be letting the hot in if you open the windows. The ventilation in the building is appropriate for COVID-19 recirculating air for the space that it is. But if that makes the campers more comfortable, they can absolutely open windows.
Just ask that they close the windows before they leave, because we've had it where we've been outside and it's rained and they left their, you know, their windows open and we had to run through and close some windows. So
it got a little soggy. Yeah. Tropical storm or hurricane, we had one last summer. We are constantly watching the Doppler. That's something, you know, as boaters, we're just always checking the radar. If there is a chance of thunder, we alter our plans. Or if there is severe weather, like a hurricane, we have our beautiful facility, and we've got lots of activities to do indoors. We have a pretty amazing seawater lab that Kyle does a great job maintaining. We've got lots of live animals in there. We've got a wave tank that's, what would you guys say, 12 feet long, that we can use to create some wave simulations, some engineering projects. So we're ready to pivot with some backup plans for our backup plans if there's poor weather. But we're always super aware of, you know, what's impending. So we're trying to, we've gotten pretty lucky in the past 5 summers, so I'm hoping that luck continues for us, but we're always ready to change up our plans. Right. There is recycling in terms of what leaves our building. We will not be reusing any cutlery. As frustrating as that is for us as those who care about the ocean and the environment, we will be recycling in terms of what our plastics that are brought in are. Many of the containers that will be delivered to us from the University of Connecticut are actually compostable. So some of that food waste will actually be able to be composted instead. But our cutlery At this point, they have not upgraded to that yet. So compostable cutlery, but we're conscious of that as a problem, but we don't have a facility to wash anything and reuse any forks or anything like that. That would not be advisable this year. So
Another thing that I thought of that was brought up at the last meeting was asking about campers bringing snacks. So we will provide snacks throughout the day, especially in the evenings. But you are free to bring snacks. We just ask that they're not left in the bunk rooms because yep, ants, mice, who knows, we don't want to try to add that into the bunk rooms, but we do have a separate room which we can store all of these snacks in. So you can totally bring snacks, but please don't hide them in your closets. Just let us know and you can have access to them pretty much anytime we're in the building. So that's something.
Yeah, and those will be stored away in a safe container with your name on it. So no one else is going to steal your cookies either. So Cheryl had a really important question here. If a student in day camp comes down with COVID during the week, will all students be sent home? So that decision is actually not up to us. If a student develops more than one symptom of COVID while at camp, so if they just come in and they've got a little hay fever, a little sniffle, that's not enough to merit sending them home. But if they develop a second symptom on top of that, we will send the child home. Since it's day camp, we'll ask you to come and pick up your child early. So they will be quarantined in a room with a staff in full PPE. So we'll just kind of hang out with them until you can come and pick them up. And then we'd request that you go get a COVID test for that camper. And then if they get a negative result, they can return to camp. If they get a positive result, then that goes into the hands of the Department of Health. So our health district is Ledgelight Health District. And so your positive result would be sent to them, and then they would identify close contacts of camp. So I don't anticipate that everyone would need to immediately go home, but that is a situation that would be determined by the Department of Health.
I see a question about lunches.
Go ahead.
I'll take that one. So we don't have a refrigerator available to store camp lunches, but we will have access to a cooler. So you can have your student put their lunch in our coolers, or pack a mini cooler of your own if you're comfortable with that. We're oftentimes having a picnic lunch out in the field on the beach, so we will not have access to a microwave.
Okay. Cheryl had a follow-up question about the close contacts. I imagine that the Department of Health would advise close contacts to also get a test.
And we work closely
again,
with our camp physician as well, and he provides us guidance also. And so that would be an issue we would bring not only to Ledgelight, but also to our camp physician to give us advice.
Right. So I imagine that if your child is vaccinated, then they would not need a test. But again, that decision is completely up to, that's above our pay grade. But that would be the process. Yes, we have a water bottle filling station that is touch-free. So the students just put their bottle on a little shelf, it fills up, and then they pull the bottle out and it's full of ice cold water. So they'll be able to refill those during the week. We'll also have beverages at mealtime. And
for day camps and residential camps, we'll also be bringing jugs of cooled water for when we're in the field as well. So they'll be able to refill throughout the day. Yeah, we don't spend a whole lot of time in the building. That's a fair point, Kyle. We're out on the water as often as possible. So let's see, did I miss anything? Oh, day camp lunches. We have coolers that roll with us everywhere we go. So we've got, I don't know, what are they, 30-gallon coolers that on wheels that we'll put a whole bunch of ice and our lunches in. So if we're eating in the field, their food will be nice and cold. When
we eat indoors, they'll have access to a microwave, but that's not reliable. It's sometimes we'll be picnicking. So I would recommend if you are packing a lunch, stay away from those microwave burritos or the Easy Mac as an option. Sandwiches are a safer bet, and fresh fruit, stuff like that.
All right, so if you have any other questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. We're just approaching almost an hour here. We don't want to keep you all too long. So if you do have questions, feel free to stay on or type them in the chat. We'll be happy to answer them. But we're looking forward to a great summer. You can always reach out to us by email. Marisa put some contact information in the chat. Also the phone number for our front office, and all the information is available on our website as well. If you're already signed up for camp, you should have received an email of with the day camp handbook or the residential handbook, whatever is appropriate. So that's a wonderful resource as well.
So I did see a question about day campers bringing money. So our secret surprise that Debbie decided to tell everybody about, the ice cream truck,
I blew the cover, yeah.
will be coming one time during the week, and it'll actually be right before the day campers would leave. So we actually might be able to also partake in that. So if they want to bring, I think on Thursdays is when we're planning on doing that.
We'll
So if they
give
want
you
to
a
bring money,
reminder.
yeah,
We'll
we'll
remind you
bring
beforehand.
reminders, but we do have a camp store. We're still working out with our front office manager how we're going to be doing that. If we're going to be doing like online orders that we can then give to your campers in person. So we're trying not to handle money across the lines, so to speak. So we will figure that out as well. All right. If there's any other questions you guys have and you'd like to unmute to ask them instead, feel free to do that. Debbie's going to share the screen that has all of our emails as well, if you'd like to email any of us personally, as well as the information for the front office.
Okay, give me 1 second. Ooh, I wasn't prepared for that. Here it is. Here it is. I'm ready now. Yep. So our camp directors by name are right there. So I direct Ocean Camp and Undersea Tech. Calli directs Marine Research. Marisa directs Ocean Camp and OEA. And Kyle directs Ocean Camp. So we kind of split the duties for Ocean Camp.
Yeah.
So you could
So
ask any of us for any week, really.
Yeah. Exactly. We're all very close knit, so we can all ask each other questions too. To see this recording, it's actually going to be on our summer camps page. We have the first recording there as well, although this one is more up to date because we've been able to get some further guidance from the state and work out some other things. Oh, I spelled my name wrong. I typed my name and I spelled it wrong. Can you fix that?
It's correct in the
Get
email.
rid of that second T.
Yeah,
Although
it's correct
right
in the email. Don't even.
The email's accurate. My bad.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, we want
Well,
to thank
thank you.
everybody for coming. We appreciate it. If you think of more questions, just shoot us an email.
All right. Have a
All
great
right,
night, you
thank
guys.
you.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of the school year, and we'll see you in summer, hopefully.